Welcome back to Gerodynamics. Okay, so I'm a little bit late on this one, but I think this is the biggest issue going on right now, even more so than the Tucker Carlson Putin interview. The immigration issue. All right, so first things first. I am a libertarian. Libertarians are far more open minded about an open border. I probably am not as on board with that as some people in the Libertarian Party, but I do have a perspective that allows for free travel across the border. But I think it can be done in a controlled means, and I think that it can be done in a way that we know who is coming into this country. So let's talk about it. So, first off, Texas. I believe that Texas as a state has a right to defend their border. If they believe that there is a quote unquote invasion going on, then they have the right to defend that border and to prevent that invasion from taking over. It is supposed to be the federal government's job to defend the national borders, but we have seen with this president, with Biden, that he has no interest in doing that. We can talk about that ridiculous border bill that they're trying to get passed right now, but in general, he made it a campaign issue. He said he was going to do it. He came into office. He immediately did it. He got rid of all of the restrictions that Trump had on the border. And then he has not done anything since then to make sure to limit the amount of people coming across the border illegally. It's just that simple. Okay. So since the federal government has abdicated their role in defending the border, and since there is a large number of people coming across the border, and a large portion of that crowd, not all of them, probably not even the majority. The majority are probably just people coming here trying to get a job, trying to be able to support their family, not coming here to commit any additional crimes other than, the initial breaking the law by crossing the border illegally. And I have no problem with people who want to come for that reason, and we'll talk about that. But there is a large portion of these people that are coming across the border that are sex trafficking, human trafficking, slaves, drugs. They're coming here to commit acts of terrorism. They're coming here to commit crimes, to run MS-13 gangs, to do these things that we do not want to have happen in our country, right? So you can't just have a wide open border where everybody can just come across and do that. And so I know some people in the Libertarian Party are more of that mindset, but I think there's a way to have an open border without having that happen. Okay, so let's talk about that. We have a couple of reasons why people would be coming to the United States. They're coming to the United States to seek asylum, legitimate asylum. They have, some sort of situation happening where they're being oppressed for their religion, for their ethnicity, whatever it happens to be. These things are asylum. Coming to the country because you're having an economic hardship is not an asylum. It's not a valid reason for asylum. We should do our best to make sure that there is a strong economy around the world, and definitely a strong economy on our northern and southern borders to prevent people from coming here because of economic hardships. But it's up to those countries to make sure that they have good, a good situation that doesn't encourage people to come here also. So we have people who come here for asylum, though. Those people need to be let in, right? We need to let them in. We need to take them in. That's a basis for this. Why is it getting super bright? Anyways, that's a basis for this country, is we take in the people that need to be taken in, protect the people, give the, they need their rights to be protected, and we need to take care of these people. Okay. So the thing with asylum, and in my mindset, the final version of this border security immigration deal that we should be looking at, not the one that they put forward, because that one is a hot mess. But what we should be looking at is unlimited asylum seeking, right? So that's the first thing. If you're coming here, there's no limits on how many people can come here and seek asylum. You do have to, it has to be validated. And honestly, if we're going to be validating that they are legitimate asylum claims, we can't just let them into the country while that process, happens months down the road and they don't come back and, they're in the country and they don't finish the process. But if we make it a smooth process and we get rid of a lot of the reasons why people would be lying about asylum status, which I'll get to, we should have far less people coming here for that purpose, because that's not the main purpose that people come here for. And I think that we can streamline that process. We can take care of those people while they're going through that process, and we can make sure we keep track of those people during that process. But I do not believe there should be limits on asylum seeking. I also think that asylum seeking is a narrow definition. It should not be economic related. It should be very specific things that have been laid out in previous rules and regulations about asylum seeking. Okay, moving on. We should let people come here who are just trying to come here to live and work. We should, right? So let's talk about that. If we let people come here to live and work, they don't become citizens. That's not a part of coming here to live and work. They can become citizens. That's a different conversation. We will talk about that. But they're coming here to live and to work. They're probably supporting their families. They may be sending money back home. They may be bringing their families with them. We can, those are options. But they're coming here to work. They do not get to come here and then get on welfare. They don't get to come here and get on any sort of benefits. If they come here, they're coming here to work. Okay? And so we want people who come here to work to actually work. So that's, we can't have a situation where they come here and they just get on all of the benefits, and that's not why they came, is to work. Okay? But if you are coming here to work, you come through the door. It's a very smooth process. It's not going to take forever. We just need to give out work permits or whatever it happens to be. We need to keep track of you. You need to make everything legal. We need to know you're here. We need to know that you can stay. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be like a short window. I know that used to be a problem with work permits. I think where you would come and you would get a limited. I'm working for the season and then going back home. Maybe not that strict, but we want to know who's coming in. And if you're coming in here to work and you're not committing crimes and you're not getting on the welfare system and you are contributing to society by working, there's no reason you shouldn't be allowed to come into this country. There is a thought about limits, though, because we can't take in the whole world to work. So I think maybe that needs to be something that needs to be looked into further. How many immigrants can we handle? And that is something that I think the executive should have control over, the numbers, right? So, you get a Joe Biden in, they're going to be much more lenient. They're probably going to allow a bunch more people to come into the country to work, whatever that number happens to be. You have someone like Trump come in, he may lower the limit, have less people come in, but, there should be the ability to limit the number of people coming in just in case, right? And so, let's see. I can't pause my videos anymore. Anyways. All right. Well, maybe I can't pause them. I'll have to look into that. All right. So, anyways. So, we want to be able to let people come in, maybe give the executive the ability to limit that number. And yeah. We can have people come in and work and take care of their families and live, and they're not citizens, they're not on welfare, they're not on benefits. They just happen to be working and coming here to live, and I think we should allow that. If we do put a limit on it, maybe then it becomes, what are you coming here to do? We have so many jobs in this field, and we have so many jobs in this this sector, and that sort of thing, right? So, are you coming here to work to work in a restaurant? Are you coming here to work because you actually have a degree and we need nurses? Are you coming here to work because you work in the fields and it is seasonal? There's so many different reasons that people come here to work. It's not always manual labor, but a lot of it is. And if that industry needs it, so like our farms. I live in the Central Valley of California. The vast majority of people that are doing the mass farming for the farmers, not the farmers themselves, but the people who are going in and they're pulling the grapes and they're cutting the vines and they're pulling the fruit from the tree. A lot of those people are not from here, right? And the farmers need that labor. If people from the United States wanted to do it, they could, but they don't. So, if someone wants to come here and do that job, then that should be allowed. But anyways, the details of it, we could get into. But basically, here's where we are so far. Asylum seekers, no limits. We should allow actual asylum seekers, workers, people who want to come here to work and live, they should be allowed to come here to work and live. They're not going to become citizens. They're not going to become... they're not going to get on benefits. Asylum seekers, they might become citizens, because if they're coming here for asylum, then they probably need to stay, and maybe they want to become citizens. And in that case, they would be allowed to be on benefits if that's what they needed. And then, so the third group of people who are trying to come over here are trying to come over to do something illegal, right? They're trying to come over to commit a crime. They're trying to come over to traffic humans. They're trying to come over to traffic drugs. They're trying to come over to be a part of a gang. They're trying to come over to be to commit some act of terrorism. I do not, again, I will reiterate, I do not think that this is a large portion of the people coming, or I don't think this is a majority of the people coming in, but it is kind of a large portion. And we do need to try to limit that. So we need a secure border. So if we're going to say that you can come in legally for these other two reasons, there's one more reason. We will get to that. All right. So technically there's 4 reasons. So say you want to come in for one of the 3 legal reasons. The third one I'll talk about here in a minute because it's important and I didn't mention it. If you're not coming for one of those reasons, then you're going to try to come across the border illegally, right? So if you're trying to come across the border illegally, we have a secure border. It's going to be a lot easier for that secure border to be enforced if far more people are coming through a legal process, and far less people are trying to come into the country illegally across the border at a point where they're not supposed to be. And so we can focus on enforcing the laws in those situations, right? The Border Patrol can focus on securing the border there. Some places there could be a wall. Some places a wall's not going to work. So you want to have other sorts of monitoring systems. But we can secure our border, and it'd be a lot easier if most of the people who are coming to this country were going through a legal process, and then we only had to focus on the bad apples, right? The people who can't come through the legal process because they're criminals or because they don't want it known that they're here. Anyways, so that's why I think that if we focus on allowing the free entry of asylum seekers, the free entry of people coming here to work and live, then it's so much easier to get down to the root of the problem, which is the people who are trying to do harm. All right. 4th group are people who are actually coming here to become citizens because they want to be citizens. It's, yes, they're coming here to work and to live, but their actual goal is to be a citizen. There should be a process for that as well. There's definitely limits on that, but I think that that could be streamlined. That could be a process that is worked on. And so, if you're coming here to be a citizen, you definitely want to go through the legal process. If you happen to already be here, so let's touch on the other issue. You're already here. You already broke the law. You already came into the country illegally. If we do make this change and we streamline all this other process, right? Streamline coming into work, coming for asylum, coming to be a citizen, but you're already here illegally, you have to deport yourself. You have to deport, come back through, and be processed. Once we get that bill passed or whatever it is that gets this all set into motion, you should have a limited amount of time, whatever that happens to be. Could be even a large amount of time, because some of these people are here, have been here for a long time, and it's hard. I get that, to uproot yourself, go back and come through again. But you have to start the process clear, not illegally. You don't get to jump the line. You don't get to have broken the law and then there's no ramifications. Maybe the only ramification, so say your only law that you broke was you came across the border illegally and you've lived a completely you haven't committed any crime since you've been here. You're working, you have a family, you have no intentions of doing anything wrong. You need to go back, come through. We will try to make that process as easy as possible for you, but you don't get to just jump ahead of the line because you're already here. And if you don't go back, then you are here illegally and you're committing a crime. And at that point, once that time frame, that window of opportunity, even if we say it's a month, 6 months, a year, whatever it ends up being agreed upon, if you don't do it within that time frame, you're now here illegally, and the government should go around deporting everybody who did not deport themselves and did not come through the legal process. If you're caught in this country, you will be deported and you will not be allowed back in. That's how I think it should be handled. I think that would be the best way to make sure that we have everybody accounted for who is here for good purposes. If you're here for bad, then we're gonna have to deal with you through that means. You break a law, you need to be punished, and then depending on how bad the law is, you may not get sent back right away, because you do need to face punishment for your crime, and we don't want you just immediately just coming right back in again, right? So, but the border will be more secure, so most people will get sent back. But if you've done something, you've murdered somebody, you've committed sexual assault. Sorry, I can say it. It's fine. You do something terrible like that, you have to be punished first. Normal punishment, not excessive, but whatever the normal punishment is, and then you can be sent back after doing your time. But you won't be allowed back in. And so if you come back in, you'll be coming back in illegally. But luckily, we'll have a more secure border to make sure that you cannot do that. Hopefully. That's my take on it. I think that that's pretty down the line, middle of the road type of take. It's not extreme in any way. If you think it is extreme, or if you think that I'm being too lenient, or if you think I'm being too strict, let me know. Put it in the comments. All right, everybody, take care. Have a good day.